Brian, we'll start with public input. Is there anybody signed?
Tonight we are here to present another message to the town board members. Our words, seeking out safety for the town of Wheatfield residents, represents an SOS message that is shared by our community. We have been told by Mr. Cliff and other members of the board that they do not support sidewalks in our town. Yet if you read on the town of Wheatfield's website, you will find that the town's comprehensive master plan includes pedestrian walkways, sidewalks, and bike paths. In 2015, after we presented our safety concerns about widening road shoulders or providing a sidewalk to the Wheatfield board members, Mr. Cliff stated to Kelly Duger and I, "Now you have created a problem in Wheatfield." Kelly Duger replied, "No, we are addressing an existing problem in Wheatfield. We know that Kruger Road is not the only unsafe road in Wheatfield, and that is why we need to take a stand and share with our town board members that safety is important for all Wheatfield residents. We need support from the Wheatfield Town Board to seek out money and grants to address unsafe road conditions. The town of Niagara is also pursuing money from the Transportation Alternative Program for a sidewalk along 4th Street due to pedestrian fatality. They did not need to have residents sign petitions or provide pictures for this. They also will be taking their matching 20% out of town funds. Why? Because they feel this particular road is dangerous and requires a sidewalk to keep residents safe. Wheatfield Town Board members need to recognize they are elected officials. Their first priority should be to provide a safe environment whereby the residents can enjoy the parks and the many beautiful playgrounds, all the beautiful things in our town that we can't get to because there are no shoulders or sidewalks to provide a safe route. 2 years ago, on November 20th, 2014, approximately at 7 p.m., a teenager was struck by a vehicle on Kruger Road. This victim was severely injured and was in critical condition due to head injuries. He lost his life the very next day. His name was Ryan Fisher. I have heard that some people had said it was an accident waiting to happen, and I've heard it, some of the board members even had said that. As Ryan was not walking on the correct side of the road, he was wearing dark clothes and he was holding the hand of his girlfriend. These same individuals did not take into consideration that this road has no area for pedestrians and that it is a very dark with narrow shoulders, approximately 2 feet in width, and deep ditches. Other circumstances such as the speed of the vehicle and lack of attention of the driver were also not considered. I don't really think it was Ryan's fault that he got killed. But from sharing conversations with 662 residents who live on and around Kruger Road, the consensus is that this road is not safe for walkers, runners, bicycle riders, and dog walkers. Others also stated it is unsafe for drivers, as when pedestrians are in the road, it is difficult to go around them if cars are in the oncoming lanes. And that includes Mikey, who lives across the street from me, when he rides his three-wheeler. People have to drive all the way over to the other side of the road. After Ryan's death in December of 2014, I spoke at a town meeting about safety concerns on Kruger Road. That was in December of 2014. I brought up the idea of sidewalks, but I was informed that Wheatfield does not construct sidewalks. I was surprised to hear this, as I had read in the town of Wheatfield's comprehensive plan under goals and objectives to ensure a safe transportation network that can accommodate the needs of the automotive and non-automotive travel, the written statement that said to increase non-automotive transportation options that included sidewalks, trails, and bikeways. In the spring of 2015, because no steps from the Wheatfield board had been taken, I finally spoke with Ryan's family. Up until then, they were not involved. A decision was made to reach out to the neighboring residents for support towards constructing wider shoulders on Kruger Road. 384 people signed the petition. They agreed that this would indeed make Kruger Road safer. We were told that needed tax money for shoulders would need to come from residents in the Kruger Road area. We were later informed there was grant money for a sidewalk. Again, we went to our neighbors and secured 662 signatures in support of a sidewalk. The residents in our area agreed that something needs to be done to ensure safety on Kruger Road. The grant, Transportation Alternative Program, was submitted and we received it. Again, we were told the tax money would need to come from the 674 area residents of Kruger Road. We did get the grant. A public hearing would need to take place to secure approval from the affected residents to pay toward the taxes, and then the board also would need to pass a resolution to sign the contract for the grant as well. And I know the board is not supportive of the sidewalk. Go ahead, Troy.
The town board keeps saying that taxes will rise due to the sidewalk. Unfortunately, when you spend our taxpayers' money on projects or items that the town board feels necessary, these added tax dollars are quickly accrued. Some examples of how our taxes are used include, in August of 2015, did you need to borrow $350,000 through a 5-year bond for a Phase 1 of the Niagara River Greenway Trail, and then also need to pay an additional $346,635 to the town engineer firm Wendell Architects to draw up the design. Total cost of the first phase is $1.8 million, which will be funded by the aforementioned bonds, and $1,162,000 in money from the National Scenic Byways. With money already borrowed, how much will be borrowed for Phase 2 of the project? The total cost of this project ranged from $2 million to as high as $5 million. On April 4th, 2016, in the Buffalo newspaper, Mr. Cliff stated the town will eventually need to borrow money. The town has authorized $350,000 in borrowing to pay upfront costs. Also, is it true that the town of Wheatfield would be responsible for maintenance and care of this 10 to 12 foot wide path? Did you pay $3,000 towards the design of a new library? Did you borrow $350,000 through a bond issue to match the grant that was secured at Fairmont Park to improve the $700,000 improvement project? Why wasn't this asked to be voted upon? Did you pay each full-time employee $300 a year of clothing allowance? This includes union and non-union members and all office workers. Estimate cost was $13,050. Did you approve on August 10th, 2015 that any full-time employee would be able to opt out of health insurance and then receive an annual health insurance buyout? Did the town need to borrow $950,000 from the reserve fund for the 2016 budget and then $1 million for the 2017 from the reserve fund? Through the Transportation Alternative Program, we need to match 20%. The total estimated sidewalk project cost is $965,000. We need an additional $189,000 to fund this project. $189,000. At this time, have any of the board members tried to locate more grants or additional funding? Mr. Rotella did tell us that we could reach out to Senator Ort and ask him for help, and Catherine Lance, possibly with any remaining casino money.
And have you done that? Has anyone looked into that for us? I asked this way back in January. And then also I talked to Mr. Siegman, and he was going to some convention, and he was going to check into some grant money for us too, and I haven't had an answer from him either. This is why Kruger Road is unique compared to other roads in Wheatfield.
It's the connecting road between two major roads of Niagara Falls Boulevard and Ward Road, which in turn leads to high volume of traffic every day that includes cars, trucks, school buses, and emergency vehicles. Many children, adults, pet owners frequently use Kruger Road for purposes of walking and biking. Shoulders are very narrow, approximately 2 to 3 feet wide, with some open ditch areas. There are 3 stop signs plus an additional stop sign icon located on the right side of the road leading from Niagara Falls Boulevard to Ward. On the right side of the road leading from Ward to Niagara Falls Boulevard, there are 5 stop signs and 2 stop icon warnings to help enforce the 30-mile-per-hour speed limit. There are 2 commercial businesses, Calacanos Market, whereby the back parking lot is used as an entrance and exit onto Kruger, and also Roselle Construction Company, where trucks and large equipment use our road. Also present is St. Johnsburg Fire Hall, whereby fire trucks, emergency vehicles, and volunteers use the road, moving at a very fast rate of speed. There is weekly bingo and sometimes special activities such as wrestling, whereby there's not enough parking at the fire hall. So in turn, cars are parked on both sides of Kruger, leaving only one lane for cars and no area for walking or biking. There is also a children's playground present at the end of Kruger near St. John's Brick Fire Hall parking lot. Due to housing development growth in the past 20 years surrounding Kruger Road area, there are now 11 feeder streets that cross, end, or begin on Kruger.
So right now, we're crying out for help again. It's the SOS. We've been presenting information over the last 3 years, not getting much support at all. Somebody died here. Do you want to be responsible for another death? And I know you keep saying we have to just get that area around Kruger Road to pay the taxes. There are more than enough people that come from other areas of Wheatfield that use that road. It's just not our problem. It's everyone's problem that comes off the boulevard or off of Ward Road. I don't know why you're just sanctioning our specific area to pay for the sidewalk. Doesn't make sense to me.
I just ask that you guys please make it a priority to make it safe. I have another child. I don't want to move. I love this town. I grew up here. I moved my family here because I felt at home, and I felt this warm, fuzzy feeling, and I felt safe. And I didn't know it wasn't going to be safe.
Thank you. We do have a whole lot more homework to do yet. We have not started talking about this area since we found out about the grant. We have not had a chance to caucus together. Our town attorney is looking into the special district considerations. That's one possibility. Ed Mongold's already taken a look into how we could pay for it if we want to go any other way. There's a lot for the board to consider before we proceed. So let's take a look at it as this is going to happen. My position is, how can we best make it happen? And I'd like to keep working with you both and any of your other friends that are interested to get this done. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Good evening. I have my usual questions. I wanted to find out where we sat with the appeal, Quasar. Last I knew it was being perfected and there was going to be a time extension. I also was interested in knowing if Nate has approached in any way, email, call, anything about converting the plant to Class A. Also, if there's any updates, correspondence in any form, telephone calls regarding ag and markets. And then on an unrelated subject, excuse me, how many lawsuits have been filed with Niagara Sanitation Landfill, and how many notices we have to date?
You may have to remind me some of the questions because there were a lot, but with regard to
Appeal.
ag and markets, well, the appeal, that is, as you are aware, being handled by Bond, Schenck and King, our outside counsel, environmental counsel. There has been no word from me, and I'm in almost daily contact with the attorneys there. No word. There has not been a perfection of the brief. I'll get it as soon as it is perfected. There has not been one as of yet. At
what point will their extension run out? Like, at what point will their time limit be done?
Off the top of my head, I don't have that here, but I think we're running into only a couple more months left.
Okay.
I don't have it at the exact date here, but I believe it's only a few more months. I'd have to double check and get that information to you.
Sure, thank you.
With regard to ag and markets, I have not had any contact whatsoever, no correspondence of any nature, phone,
Okay.
letter.
And then Nate.
I have not heard. I don't know if any, no contact to me.
Well, he presented at West Seneca, at Marilla, a plan to convert the West Seneca plant and the Wheatfield plant. I'm trying to get the minutes for that meeting, but I've been delayed. So once I have those, I will share them with you. But he presented a plan to do a conversion of our plant, or the Wheatfield plant, and West Seneca. And that's why I keep asking if he's approached or done anything here.
I can email him. In the past, I've emailed him, and he's generally responded with some type of a response.
I just find it
I'll
odd
email
that he's presenting plans, but he hasn't talked to you guys. So how could he have it approved? Why would he present a plan if he doesn't even have approval here, since that was a stipulation of their contract? And then the Niagara sanitation landfill, where are we at on that?
There is, I think your first question was how many lawsuits have been filed?
Yeah.
There's just one lawsuit.
Just one?
Just one lawsuit been filed.
But many people, like,
It contains, I believe, the number has changed, but I believe we're talking involving notice of claims that have been turned into that lawsuit. I believe it contains about 60 or so of the notice of claims. Not all the
Okay.
notice of claims are contained in that lawsuit.
okay. And then are there any notices of claim that have not been converted to a lawsuit, or?
Well, there were
take-
some that were filed,
Okay,
notice of claims that were filed that were not contained in the lawsuit. Why they
Okay.
weren't, I can't necessarily speculate as to that, but
okay. All right, thank you very much for the update.
Brian?
Yeah, thank you, Legislator James Johnson, one of the legislators here. First I want to talk about a state of emergency that we declared last week Thursday because of the lake levels. That state of emergency is still in effect, it will be for a month. We're hoping that the governor will also see the damage not only in our county, but all over the road, Wayne County, and state of Fairfax damage, which continues. That we would, declare a state of emergency to help bring aid to property owners and infrastructure to damage. There's an awful lot of damage out there. I've been out there the last couple of days. All the fire companies are sandbagging, and it's getting worse. I'd like to advise everyone, I know in Wheatfield you're not close to the lake, but if you have homes or friends, visit the lake. Be conscious that our banks have been compromised. Stay back away from them. They're collapsing, and will continue to collapse. This heavy rain doesn't help us, obviously. Boaters, getting your boat in, be careful because there's more debris in that lake this year than I've seen in the last 20 years. Because of the lake levels, the streams are all flowing, and it's pulling a lot of this debris in. So I'd like to just caution everyone, down near the lake, go to visit the lake, around the water, exercise extreme caution. Condition is going to worsen. Right now, we're 19 inches above where we should be, on a long-term average. The Army Corps of Engineers last week announced we have 11 more inches expected in that lake between now and May 14th. I don't see that lake level going down well into June or even July. So it will continue. There's nothing we can do because the dam controls our water. St. Lawrence, again today, is raised, reaching the outflow because downstream, Montreal, areas downstream are also flowing. So it's too late to close out the lake way back in February, expecting heavy rain, expecting a lot of snow. The reality is, here we are, too late, we have to do what we got. That said, people say, well, I'm not on the lake. But all of the erosion, you realize the homes down there is one of the highest tax properties in town, comes here, right on the lake shore. Because all of that land and those houses are devaluated, are seriously impacted by high and low water. The parts of Fairfax weather is going to be for and by everybody in the county. That's sad. We have an opportunity to be devastated. Airbase, real quickly, recent trips in Washington with the elected leaders, Congress, and the Pentagon. We identified some priorities that we're going to work on and strengthen, fortify our position with our airbase here. We certainly want to continue moving forward to the launch recovery mission for the remote piloted aircraft. Now that we have the tankers here, a simulator building which has been built, ready for a simulator. There's one in Florida. We are now lobbying to bring that simulator up to Florida, put it here. Hopefully to become a regional simulator training facility for the tanker fleet in the Pacific. So these are things we're trying to do to put the free solid space in the ground to keep our base off the tracker. Which we are now starting to gain a little bit of momentum with the Vietnam situation. Very conscious of what's going on in the Pacific on top of that. But it's
Thank you.
any questions?
Thank you, Dave. Brian, nobody else? Kathy, for the record, all board members are present. Gentlemen, we have a set of minutes from, I believe, April 17th. Anybody want to move those in for approval? Moved by Art, second by Larry. Anything anybody wishes to change? If not, then all in favor of approving these minutes signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved. We do have a bill payment. It's $177,433.27. The voucher numbers are 2017-590 through 678. Can I have a motion to pay these bills?
So move.
Second.
Moved by Randy, second by Gil. Any bills anybody wishes to question or hold? If not, all in favor of paying signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's approved. Paul, you still here? How are you making out with the rains?
Water everywhere.
Yeah, it sure is.
There was flooding in February in the town. We are not alone. My brother-in-law was the county manager. It came down to her there. Water shooting out of the sanitary manhole cover. The holes in the cover. The pump. But they told me how much water that came down. Unbelievable. A short amount of time. Besides that, they've been watching the news. I've seen it the last couple of days. April was on, supposed to be the wettest April on record. I think it was the second wettest April on record. They weren't sure if they were going to beat it or not, but it did rain out there to make the man beat. March was also towards the end because as far as wasting snow and all that. Ground is bad too. And it rains out now, nothing soaks on the ground, so it's like pretty good this. But they probably all over town. Rain has always been very, very rarely have an issue out there and too bad there it was. It's not really what much we can do about it, but it is slow. Call for water posts in that area. Sit around and worry about it. Move around and keep the flow in my backyard. That's mostly all I have. Just a couple of things. They're out shipping. Every day it's not raining out. Paving. They're coming down at least twice in the last 3 days. But with all the rain, they're not going to ship them away. The machine had these guys do it. The only other thing I have is I don't know if it's something coming up with sidewalks or whatever. I want to keep one thing in mind. We do have sidewalks, 2 roads, residential areas in town. We have to do one or two things. We have to have the law, and we look at some of the sidewalks and some of their homes. Or we'll have to hire another guy. Maybe a new team. We had a new call last year, so that didn't work. So what we have to do now on Boulevard and Williams Road is today. Next week we need to plow. They come to themselves out with snow on top of the sidewalk, and we for snow, and we have to snow roll. That takes more than that. Sometimes you're out there for a solid week. That sidewalk up there is gonna be a pit. And it's too slow. So please, with your respect for this, you take that into consideration that, you know, we are gonna have to put on another person, or we'll have to put the town on the, everybody's responsible for the sidewalk, residential area.
Paul, what if somebody thinks it's taking in summer snow? This is where you go to go. Would they be allowed to set it because they have something to do?
It depends what the person is. I know you think I'm thinking not. What I'm saying is, the snippet that I have to do is my book. And what I have to work with. My job is to keep the roads clean and perfect. But I also have to keep sidewalks there if they are there.
And that bike that Pat was down by the river, who's gonna be doing it?
I have no idea, I believe Mike Giovanni.
And you're gonna have to hire extra guys? Because bike paths are gonna be pretty long.
Debbie, it's an interesting question. In that particular instance, you wouldn't normally clear a bike path from snow.
You're not gonna go and check the branches, and you're not gonna be down there and shoveling
We
the
have to,
snow?
we have to maintain it. There's no question there's a cost in maintaining a
The
path.
taxpayers will be paying for that.
And taxpayers.
I would like to say one other thing, and not to be so upset. We did meet with the DOT on Cedar Road.
I know.
I wasn't there,
I know.
my deputy was, and Mr. Cliff was. And so there's studies and everything, that is going into the sign on Cedar Road, I believe, in what, 20 years?
Something like that.
So over 20 years. And I've been a firefighter in St. John's since 28. We've had a couple fender benders on there. It's one too many, I understand that. I have to use my own.
They didn't tell you to run the sidewalk.
Was there 11, vehicles coming there 20 years ago?
I'm saying, what I'm saying is in
Were
the
all
last
those
20 years,
families back there 20 years ago?
what I'm saying is in the last 20 years,
I know
they
what you're
had
saying.
records for it, that's all I can say.
I called Colleen today.
That's all I have.
Let's not argue back and forth. Any questions for Paul? Thank you, Paul. Rich?
I'll second the motion about water being everywhere. We had a couple pump stations that were taken out.
Hopefully we don't have sewer everywhere. I'll settle for water.
We didn't get sewage everywhere, but we did have to help out the pumps that we do have in the stations with, the gas powered pumps to help the sewer move along a little bit quicker. We had guys out with sandbags over the top of manholes because unlike town of Niagara where they had the water spurting out of them, the manhole 3 had the cover in water and the water was going in, so they infiltrate the ground. So, we put out about 30 or 40 sandbags for the town's 800 number, I took roughly 24 calls between 4:30 and about 6:30, 7 o'clock. In fact, I took the last call when I was on the top part of the day. So that number definitely works. People do use it all the time. Pump station rehab on Jago Road is moving along. With all this rain, they did have to dig out quite a section there to set the new station on top, and they're having all kinds of fun with this rain just washing everything out. So, work has kind of slowed down a little bit. If it was dry, it didn't go any perfect, but they have everything in place, and the slide tank pumping, we haven't had any issues there yet. That contract is going through. That's what I have now. Matt's got a couple more things going in the station. No, that's a big thing that the town is trying to do. At the sewer plant over there, is to keep the rainwater out of the tank very sewer. In fact, today I got a call from somebody that when their sump pump kicked on today, the water was coming up in the toilet. I said, well, that's not supposed to happen. Your sump pump can't do what it's doing. So after going and inspecting the house, they had it hooked up to radiators so that they could have the water right. But with all the water we had, it ended up that it the pumps in the pump stations are made to pump sewer. They're not made to pump any extra water that's dumped in there from rain or anything like that. So when we do get extra water there, there's alarms that go off. We go check it either on second pump or second or not. We'll get an extra pump and we can put that in our tank. If there's a break in the pipe, if there's a any kind of, like, my manhole got flooded, the water went in the manhole on top of there. Anybody's got that pipe or a riser or something that gets cracked, any of the groundwater that gets in there, I pump that and work over the card, or sometimes it's over the pump.
Anything for Rich? Thank you. Mike?
Evening. Two things. First thing, summer camp registration full. We're only allowed to take 60 kids based on our occupancy regarding Department of Health. We have an additional 15 on a waiting list. We had to cap it off. I mean, I would have many more. So it's kind of a gift and a curse. There's a lot of people we had to turn away. Unfortunately, they were just a day or two late, and hopefully next year they come in earlier. Second thing, Larry suggested it, so kudos to you, but I contacted our insurance about damages to the roofs on our dugouts, pavilions at the park, and they're going to cover all of them. So we should be getting a check, Kathy. It's going to come to you in the amount of $7,515.19. And they're actually going to take care of the one we already replaced. We put the metal roof on, so yeah, it was rough. They had at least a couple of sheets. So some of them were just a couple of sheets. Our dugouts that are pitched low, those ones got hit the worst. He recommended to follow suit with the metal roof like we did. In fact, what they quoted us on was, maybe I shouldn't even say it was cheaper than, or more than what we spent on actually replacing it with metal roof, so we're good.
And how about today? Any problems today?
Today, no, just water. NFP's been out there, topsoil landscaping our pathway. They're done with that, and then they were there today. They didn't get to paving, but they were putting millings down to connect the handicap spots to the pathway in the 3 or 4 different areas that were concerned. I'm not sure what they're going to do on that. They were out there with the machine, but I never made out to... They were talking about making a bridge. I'm not sure what you could do.
They were paving something today out there, weren't they, Nick?
Excuse me?
They were paving something out there today.
I don't know if they had blacktop, but they definitely had millings that they got from the highway garage. So they had the base down. I don't know if they got blacktop or not. He said he was going to do it in the afternoon, but it was pouring, so I doubt. I don't know if he did or not. That's all I got.
Anything else for Mike? Thank you, Mike.
Yep.
Mike Clark. Good stuff here. Arlene, are you here? Anything going on? Well, it was rain, there was water everywhere. No matter where you drove, everywhere you looked, there was water, but it was moving. The ditches were moving, so it should go down.
I know of someone in the town, I'm not going to mention names, that got hit. My mother-in-law seems like she gets called every month. They call you and tell you your computer's sick or it's got a virus and you have to call us now. And once they remote into your computer, they're going to slip you something so that, you know, it's going to cost you more to fix it. And they're going to give you a virus or malware. And you look what ECMC had, where their hospital was down for weeks. And I don't even think they're fully recovered yet. Yeah, don't call these people. They're going to say they're Microsoft and they're going to have a foreign accent, but don't believe them.
Very good. Tim?
Thank you. We have a couple things for you this evening. Most of them are motions that'll be up later when we get to the motions, but I'll at least go through them briefly now for you. The first item is the Cayuga Drive Extension Bridge Rehabilitation Project. We have a professional services proposal in our package. As you're aware, the Town Highway Department was able to secure a grant for rehabilitating the Cayuga Drive Bridge Extension, or the Cayuga Drive Extension Bridge, to the amount where they're going to go in and repave the inverts of the pipes because the bottom of the pipes are rusting out, and reconstruct the head walls on either side of them. That bridge was on the DOT's list of is getting to be critical ones in Niagara County, so they were able to secure that funding. The total cost.
Have we actually received a contract on that?
Yes, and I believe it is also in the packet for the first portion. They don't give one contract for the whole project. They split it up and they do one for the town to sign for design and then they do another one for bidding and construction. So I believe Matt has reviewed their contract that they have sent for the design portion. So out of that, we have a proposal in there to do the professional design services for what needs to be done for permitting with the Army Corps to get in and work around those culverts, get the diversions done, and working with the DOT hydraulics department to make sure that we're not affecting the floodway and the flood plains in that area. So that was our first agenda item. By the way, that excuse me, the total cost for that project is, I believe, $145,000, and the grant is 95% reimbursable. So it's basically $138,000 that'll be reimbursable with the town contributing $7,000.
Who's going to be responsible for turning in the reimbursables? The highway department, or is Bernie help us out with those? Or
I believe the document controls are going to go through the highway department, because that's who the DOT is from. So that was our first item. Our second item on the agenda is has to do with an agri-sanitation landfill fence. We met the engineers that are working with the DEC out at the site last week. I actually got called out there to walk at least the 2/3 to 3/4 of the perimeter that they had cleared. And they pointed out some obstacles that are probably going to be in the way of us putting the fence where we wanted to put it. So what we're planning on doing is walking out there again with GPS and tracing the ditch lines and the various water bodies that are present in their wetland areas, and proposing an alternate path for the fence just to avoid those areas, getting that cleared by the DEC, and then finishing the bid document so they can go out and construct that. And the good part is maybe the overall length of the fence might get a little shorter, but there will still be some tree clearing that are going to go along with that. They have cleared brush and trees up to 6 inches in diameter, but there are some very mature trees that are still in the landfill, so we're going to either try to avoid them or minimize how many of those we're still going to have to take down. So that is our second item. Our third item is our draft annual stormwater report for a stormwater management plan. And he requests to schedule a public information meeting for that at the next board meeting. It has to be at the next board meeting because our report is due into the DEC at the 1st of June. The only other thing I would add is our first proposal for the Cayuga Drive Bridge extension work shows up first in the motions. It should probably come after the board acts on approving the contract with the DOT for that part. Any questions?
Thank you, Tim. I believe we're up to regular motions. Matt, you want to put the first one last?
Yes, that's what we'll do. Okay. All right, the motions from tonight. First one, I'll start with the late one that came from the motion from the Director of Personnel that Rich Donner referenced. Motion to approve a temporary interim deputy water source superintendent, to wit, Mark Clark, at a rate of $25.29.
We have a motion, Merritt. Was that a second, Gil?
Yes.
Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
Next motion of the ones from Wendell, to approve Wendell's additional authorization for Niagara Sanitation Landfill Fence Project in accordance with their proposed letter dated April 27, 2017 for a lump sum fee of $2,000.
I'll go ahead and make this motion.
I'll second.
Second by Randy. Anything on the question? The good news here is the actual work is a lot lesser because they have done a lot of trimming, but there still is more work to be done, and it does have to be designed properly. If nothing else on the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
Next motion, again from Wendell, as Tim referenced, to schedule a public information meeting on Monday, May 15th, 2017 at blank p.m. to review the town's draft stormwater annual report for 2016 and the town's stormwater management plan.
Anybody?
I'll make the motion. Is 7:15 a good time?
10 or
7:00.
15 minutes of the best presentation of the year.
You probably need 5 minutes, right? So 7:15.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Second by Gil. Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
Next motion from the supervisor and town board to vacate the town board motion of April 17th, 2017, scheduling a public hearing for May 24th, 2017 at 7 p.m. at the Wheatfield Town Hall and rescheduling said public hearing for June 14th, 2017 at 7 p.m. at the Town of Wheatfield Senior Community Center to discuss the local law amendments for the proposed rezoning of Niagara Falls Boulevard Overlay District.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Randy, second by Larry. Anything on the question?
We do have Drew Riley's attendance that night too, right?
That was why we had to pick that.
Okay.
Anything further? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Approved. This one was fun, wasn't it?
Next motion is, whereas the town of Wheatfield, with the assistance from Whit O'Brien's, has gathered information and prepared the Niagara County, New York Hazard Mitigation Plan, and whereas the Niagara County, New York Hazard Mitigation Plan has been prepared in accordance with the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000, and whereas the town of Wheatfield, New York, is a local unit of government that has afforded the citizens an opportunity to comment and provide input in the plan and the actions in the plan, and whereas the town of Wheatfield, New York, has reviewed the plan and affirms the plan will be updated no less than every 5 years, now therefore be it resolved by the town board that the town of Wheatfield adopts the Niagara County, New York Hazard Mitigation Plan as the jurisdiction's natural hazard mitigation plan and resolves to execute the actions in the plan.
I'll go ahead and move. We do need a second. Second by Art. This is a process that happens at the county level. I think it's every 5 years. The county does the overwhelming majority of the work, but all the towns are involved. Mark just walked in the room. Mark Kasperzak was our representative at each of these meetings. It seems like it's sort of a crazy thing to go through with all that they do, but identifying what hazards might happen, and then how can we mitigate it to avoid it getting worse. But it's rather extensive work that Whit O'Brien does. We have to do it if we intend to get any grants from the state. Mark, do you have anything to add? Anything further on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
Next motion is from the highway superintendent, and that is with regard to the Cayuga Drive extension over Bergholz Creek Bridge rehabilitation project, and due to its length, as presented as in the motion package.
Okay, we need a motion. Moved by Larry. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Randy. Anything on this question? If not, all in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
Yep. Now we're going to go back to the first Wendell motion regarding that. Motion to authorize Wendell to provide the design services for the Cayuga Drive Extension Bridge Rehabilitation Project in accordance with their proposal letter dated April 27, 2017 for a lump sum fee of $15,000.
Need a motion to proceed? Moved by Art, second by Larry. Anything on the question? Okay, if nothing further, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
Next motion from Town Board of Assessment and Review and the town assessor Motion to appoint Matthew Ferrucci to a 5-year term of the Board of Assessment of Review, commencing, and this is a correction, instead of October 1st, May 1st, 2017.
So moved.
Board of Assessment Review, okay. Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
Next motion from the Water Sewer Department to hire the following individuals for seasonal help. Number 1, Brandon Mack. Number 2, Dave Evans. And number 3, Bryce Sigmund. A rate of pay and terms pursuant to the job specifications of the Water Sewer Department seasonal help and pending approval of Human Resources and Niagara County criminal background check.
So moved.
Anything?
I'll second.
Moved by Gil, second by Randy. Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
Next, motion from Parks and Recreation Department to hire the following individuals for seasonal help as follows. Park guards, Alyssa Martin. Groundskeepers, Alex Hake, Chris Victor, Matthew Sissio, and Edward McIver at a rate of pay and terms pursuant to job specifications of the Parks and Recreation Department seasonal help and pending approval of Human Resources and a Niagara County criminal background check.
I'll go ahead and move. Need a second. Second by Art. Anything on this question? If nothing further, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's approved.
Excuse me. Next motion again from Parks and Recreation Department to modify and correct the price of Fairmount Park Day activity programs to $6 for residents and $10 for non-residents due to a typographical error in the previous resolution setting the fees.
Moved by Art. Need a second. Second by Larry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
Next motion is from the Planning Board, and I believe there may be someone as a representative here to speak on behalf of Dollar General, but it is to approve the requested modification of parking requirements at 3887 Mapleton Road pursuant to Town Zoning Code 200-59A. The request is detailed in a letter and attachments from the design engineer Christopher Wood, P.E., dated April 11, 2017, and the Town of Wheatfield Planning and Zoning Board site review process results dated April 5, 2017. And I guess I'll hold off reading the rest after we've heard from the applicant.
What's your name, sir?
Good evening. My name is John Barniak with Carmina Wood Morris Engineering. I'm here on behalf of Creative Structure Services, Dave Pollock, for the proposed Dollar General store at 3887 Mapleton Road. At the April 5th Planning Board meeting for the site plan review, the Planning Board recommended that the Town Board consider parking variation for a proposed 30 parking spaces versus the Town Code of 45 required parking spaces. The reasoning for this is based on Creative Structure Services building experience of 20 other stores. Typically 30 spaces are more than adequate for their buildings. Historically during peak hours for the store, only about 5 to 7 parking spaces are used. In addition, we believe it's in the best interest of the town to maintain as much wetlands and green space on the site as possible, rather than pave it and provide unused parking spaces. With that, I'll turn it back to you, Board.
My understanding at the planning board meeting was that those parking spaces would be identified on paper, so that if there was a change in use to a higher volume store or something that was higher volume, that the location would already be there for those 15 extra parking spaces.
There is
Because of the wetlands. But they are identified, so nobody can come back at a future point and say, I can't put them in because. Correct?
They won't be able to put them in.
It's their problem, not ours. Anybody else?
This is just a single structure building, there's not gonna be another business or anything?
Just one single-story retail building.
Okay.
Okay, we don't actually have a motion on this.
Before you do, I do have one more question here.
Okay, go ahead.
And I'd like to address this to the, I guess, the building department, code enforcement and such. I'm trying to find out what's going, never mind looking around. This is the third time that people have come to us looking for a variance for parking. The dentist office on the boulevard, Aldi's, now Dollar General. Do we need to revisit how many parking spots these structures have to have? Are we doing something out of the ordinary? I mean, constantly to put variances on these things, why can't we just settle on this is what you need to do, and you need so much area to do it in? I agree. Aldi's had the same comment. We have the supportive data. We don't need it. I mean, is that something we should look at? That's
what I was
okay.
asking.
That's what I'm asking. Do we need to reevaluate? Yep. Do we need to reevaluate this? Yep. Thank you.
I had one more question, I don't know if it's to the engineer or the building department. How large does a parking lot have to be before it has a light at the entrance to that parking lot? I mean, I'm looking back, Saberland on the boulevard. It houses sometimes 100 cars. I think they have a light there now, but years ago, they never had a light at the entrance to Saberland to come in off the boulevard. At nighttime, trying to pick the kids up, it was real dark. And I don't know how large a parking lot you need before you have to put lighting up so that you can get in the evening hours? Are you planning on putting a light at that corner or at your entrance?
We have not completed a photometric plan at this time, but typically these stores do have wall-mounted light fixtures that provide sufficient light throughout a small parking lot.
Okay. Okay.
As a matter of procedure, we still don't have a motion. We need to stop discussion and either have a motion or not and then proceed. So at this point, I'm gonna ask for a motion, if we can live without reading the whole.
Well, one thing I just wanted to mention, and I know it was discussed, in this particular case, and this section of the law, this is, as opposed to an actual variance, I know that term has been thrown around, this is actually a variation that our code provides for. Variance is something that is an appurtenant to the land and sticks with the land. This is something that is more so goes with the particular use, and that's why I have drafted in this motion a couple conditions which indicate as long as this particular use, if they've demonstrated the the reduction, the need for a reduction, in this particular case, a Dollar General. So I've added some conditions that this would specifically apply to this particular use, and if the use were to change, more things built, different type of use that requires more parking, then it could conceivably be required to increase it one way or another. They'd have to figure out how to do that. But those are the conditions I've included.
If anybody wants the whole motion read, we can do that. Otherwise, if anybody wishes to make a motion, go ahead.
I'll make the motion.
Moved by Randy. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Gil.
I got just one quick thing. I know you're going to do a photometrics on this particular site. Hockey Outlet, he used to have a light or a sign, a pylon sign, and then he must have lost power. And I know what you mean. It's terrible. I'm assuming we do a photometric. Would you have a pylon, or don't you even know at this point, or enter exit signs?
At this point, we don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, this particular subject of a reduction in parking from our code is, our town code requires them to come back to the board, not to the planning board and not to the zoning board of appeals. And that's why they're here tonight before us. We have to make that decision. Of course, we could give that right over to zoning board of appeals. We could give it back to the planning board, but at this point, it's in our hands.
I think the stipulations that Matt put on there, because you sold it next week to a small tops, like in Sanborn. So I think your conditions on here are a good thing for us.
Anything further? If not, then all in favor of approving this motion, signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's approved.
Thank you.
Okay, next motion from the Highway Department to authorize the Town of Wheatfield Highway Department to purchase a 2017 Ford F-350 4x4 at a cost of $39,370.30 pursuant to Onondaga bid 79742017 PUSRW to replace the 1999 extended cab with over 200,000 miles that was recently sold by the town on Auctions International. Said purchase would be from the Highway Department's 2017 budget.
Gentlemen? Moved by Larry. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Randy, I guess. Paul, what's this specifically used for? Is this one of many, right? Okay, anything further on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's approved.
Next motion again from the Highway Department to authorize a change to the 2017 284 agreement for the expenditure of highway monies approved by the Wheatfield Town Board on April 3rd, 2017 by deleting item B, to wit Kruger Road due to potential drainage and sidewalk installation, and thereafter adding Stenzel Avenue commencing at Whitmer Road and leading to Ward Road a distance of 300 feet, for which there shall be expended a sum of $47,000. Type mill paved, width of traveled surface 200 feet, thickness 2 inches.
I'll make the motion. Need a second. Second by Larry. This doesn't mean that Kruger is going to be forgotten about. It means that if and when we do proceed with the sidewalk, it'll be paved thereafter. Is it all the way from Whitmer to Ward?
Yeah, just leave it Whitmer to Ward.
Yeah, we'll kill it, okay, in my motion, I will kill the words a distance of 300 feet. Probably 3,000 feet. change that also.
Sorry, Paul, too many zeros or somewhere the zeros got mixed up.
Yep. Larry, do you accept those changes? Okay, we're now dealing with, Ward to Whitmer and 20 feet. Anything further on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
Next motion again from the Highway Department to authorize the increase of expendable funds by $14,807.25, SFY 17-18, and to add $19,569.07, SFY 17-18, pave New York for a total adjustment of $34,376.32 for the amount that the town of Wheatfield will be reimbursed for the extreme winter recovery and pave New York capital appropriation to help local governments make necessary repairs to highways and bridges.
Okay, gentlemen. We need a motion to proceed. Moved by Art, second by Larry. Anything further on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is approved.
Okay, that is all I have for motions.
Okay, board member items. Larry?
Yeah, I've got a couple of things. Last Saturday, we had our very successful Liberty Drive cleanup with Cub Scout Pack 833. It's not the most kids we had on hand, but we had over 30 people there. Thanks to Paul for sending out a truck, and the scouts, and thanks to Supervisor Cliff and Art Gerbeck for providing donuts. We had over 3 dozen donuts, and they were gone fast. One side note here, though, I know Paul, your guys found a couple of illegal dumpsters looking through trash bags a couple months ago. Well, we found 2 more people. I mean, these people, they don't have a lot of smarts. They leave their national fuel gas bills and bank deposit statements with their names on them. I'm going to hand this one over to Matt Brooks, our prosecutor, so that when the Niagara County Sheriff's come in with it, he's got the actual evidence. But they leave this stuff right in the bags for us to find, and hopefully we're going to be able to put a stop to this thing by publicizing some of their names when they get convicted, if they do get convicted. That's all I have on the Liberty Drive. And then Ed Mongold is our budget director, and I see some good news on sales tax. Looks to be good news. I'm reading that for March of this year, we got $414,000, which is like $18,000 more than we got last year. Yeah, for the whole year. Yeah, for the first 3 months, it looks like we're on a trend now of a little bit more than what we had last year. Any reason, or is it just... Okay.
Part of the reason is very likely the gasoline prices going up brings extra sales tax. That's probably the main reason. Keep in mind that sales tax the last 2 years, it dove, and then it dove even worse last year. So this is only bringing it back up to a level from about 3 or 4 years ago. But it's nice to see going in the right direction.
Yeah, it's good to keep that up, because we lose sales tax, and it hinders our budget. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Gil?
Only thing I have is a question. A couple months ago, we approved selling the lot off of Shawnee that the town owns. I was wondering where we stood on that.
Matt?
Well, there was some questions, and I haven't reported to the board yet. We were talking about the issue of deed restrictions because the local developer indicated he would like to see that, so I was researching that issue. in fact, it did appear that, and deed restrictions are a tricky thing, very difficult to enforce unless they're of a specific nature that violates the town code. Other restrictions in it, such as no above-ground pools, or not storing RVs, or landscaping requirements, or no one enforces it. It's not a violation of the town code if it's done improperly, so building inspection. So a builder typically likes to put those types of restrictions in when they sell the lots to maintain the neighborhood. However, my task was to look at thereafter when it was sold from the original customer that had the house constructed and got the deed from the builder that contained those restrictions, if those restrictions continued in sales to now third parties, second homeowners, and as a result of that, they weren't there. So I guess the question is, and that was brought to our attention, if we do sell, are we going to put in deed restrictions? And people are not, now that it's going to second homeowners. So, and even if we did, it's not something that we're in the business of enforcing, whether or not someone should have an above-ground pool or not, or what their landscaping looks like, or if they have a legally licensed RV or boat, whether they can park it in their driveway. So it's not something we were going to enforce anyway. But nonetheless, so there's no requirement that we do so. So that question's been answered. We could put them in there, but we're not going to enforce them. But then I think our next step thereafter is to figure out and determine the way we want to sell it, whether it's listing with a realtor, some type of auction, or some other type of fashion. We have to make that determination.
Well,
I don't know if we finished that analysis.
In the past, the town has sold one other parcel. At the highway department, there was a house with a deep lot right next to the highway building. And this goes back when our Croning was in there. This probably goes back maybe 10, 12 years ago. And the town bought the house and the lot, and we separated the property. And I think we had an auction, I believe, to sell the house separate, and the highway department kept the back lot to increase the parcel that the highway department had for its use. So that's the only example I have. But if you probably want to do something similar that we've done in the past, and I think we did an auction once before to double check.
I haven't got a chance. I was more looking at the deed restrictions to date, and but yeah, that's the next step, is to determine if we want to do it with that precedent. I'll have to pull up that file, and we can either do some sort of public auction where people submit bids at the auction, or the other type of auction is a sealed bid, where we set a deadline for sealed bids to be received. And I think we got to figure out exactly which way we want to do it. Yeah, we certainly could.
Anything else, Gil?
That was it.
Art? Randy?
I want to make just a quick comment on the sidewalk issue. Obviously, there was a very unfortunate incident there. With that being said, it is somewhat unique because it is a crossroad between two major state highways. Okay, so out of our over 60 miles of highway, it is a little unique in that respect. I understand that. I have taken phone calls. People that I don't even know are calling me. Saturday, I don't even know who the people are. They're stopping me, telling me they don't want sidewalks, they don't want to pay for sidewalks. I understand your point of view, but you have to understand, and the phone is ringing. People I don't even know. Today, a lady from Kruger Road called me. She doesn't want the sidewalks. So I'm just telling you what's out there. Okay, if I could just finish. Okay, so that's, you come with a strong point. We understand. I fully understand. I'm just telling you what what I'm getting. Maybe nobody else, maybe they get it and don't want to. I will sit here and tell you.
2 or 3 of them a week from residents.
And if I could finish, please. Not only is there a cost with a sidewalk, there's also infrastructure that will need to be repaired prior to installing that sidewalk. So not only will these people have to pay for the sidewalks, potentially, they will also have to pay for infrastructure repair that may or may not last for 25 years that we might as well replace up front. I fully understand where you're coming from. I'm just telling you what's out there.
That's all I have.
Well, we got that from you guys. We didn't make it up. We got it from you.
I think that was prepared by the grant writer, but
But shouldn't you have a list in that? Shouldn't you have read it, Mr. Smith? Didn't you really know it was on there? We met with him earlier. We talked about big money. Ace Rayner did the report of the speeding cars and how many cars are up and down that road. He was, what, over 400 cars in a couple hours or whatever it was? And Ace Rayner, you used his report. You didn't even do a road report. You didn't do a count of the cars for that amount of money. You took an Ace Rayner's report and you did it for grant. You're acting like you don't even know what I'm talking about. Can you look at it?
are you talking to me?
Yes.
I'm not here to get into an argument with you, ma'am. So if you want to argue, we'll have to do it another time.
I'm asking you, did you look at when did you get grant? Did you look at all?
I looked at all the legal requirements, if that's the answer to your question. All I can say is we're outside of the scope of board, ma'am, this is board
Okay,
trustee comments.
We are still at the early phase of discussing that. There's a long way to go.
And I'm sorry if these people are bothering you, but I'm also very sorry when I walk out my door and I see my neighbors who don't have their son anymore. And when I drive up and down that street every single day and see that memorial, sacred is your child. How would you feel? What would you want done?
We agree, Debbie, and we have a great deal more work to do on that. Randy,
That's
anything else?
That's all.
I do have a couple of things. The task force is passing along language to be added to subdivision regulations. I've given that to Matt now. At some point, we're going to have to do a public hearing to be able to turn that into a change in our zoning code. Don't really have to do it tonight. We can do it tonight if somebody wants. I have a piece of paperwork that just came in today, but there was an earlier one that came in having to do with Department of State. They're holding a meeting on Thursday. It was originally planned for Buffalo. It's now down at Fredonia. And that has to do with this, I gotta find the wording, County-wide Shared Services Initiative. If there's anybody that any member can think of, or if any of the department heads is interested in attending that meeting on behalf of the town, it's only about an hour and a half meeting. I can't be there. So if there is somebody else who wishes to attend, it's a change that the government is putting in. He's going to be requiring us to take more actions and prove our decisions on how to share services with our neighbors. That would be an opportunity to hear what he's having to say. It's Thursday at Fredonia. There's also one Monday on May 8th from the Association of Towns covering the same subject. Senator Ort today put out a release having to do with the landfill. Basically, Senator Ort is congratulating the governor for getting involved in the landfill and recognizing that this is important to all of us, not only to Wheatfield, but also to the folks in North Tonawanda. And the senator appreciates the efforts. And I believe that's all I have. I would like to ask for a motion to go into executive session when we're done, and we're very close to being done. Our next meeting is May 15th at 7:30. As of right now, we do not have any preliminaries for that specific evening. Pardon? Oh, that's right. We have Tim on 7:15. I'm sorry. Last year you made somebody else do that talk. Sorry. We are back to public input. Is there anybody? Yes, go ahead. Well, Paul's not here anymore, but going from end to end covers it anyway. Yes.
and access capacity. So I don't understand why you have too many visible signs of business, yet you have open rooms for that. The room rate is $60 a night is what they have on their website. With that said, I want to know how a budget hotel that wants an expansion fits into the comprehensive plan and the goals of Boulevard. I want to know if this is ultimately going to be some type of apartment. If they said it's an apartment, is it zoned properly for that now? And it's expected to be acted upon at the zoning board. Because, again, I just feel something is not right there. Why are they asking for more space when, based on, physical observation, it's not full? The area as a whole has excess capacity. We have a number of budget hotels on the boulevard, and I'm just asking that they be held accountable, also maintain their property. And I don't want to see that develop and then ultimately hurt our chances for other development on the boulevard for other neighboring businesses that they want to do.
Okay, Tim will be there Wednesday, I believe, so he can bring your thoughts to the attention of the other members. What they want to do, if I recall, is they want to tear down the old building that currently exists and replace it with a multi-story, two-story, three-story? Three-story, right? Of new construction. It does fit code at this point. If we make the changes on Niagara Falls Boulevard, it would still fit the code because it'd be commercial, right? So it actually would still fit the code. Right now that would work because of the hierarchical zoning which is in place. If we make the changes on the boulevard that are recommended to us, hierarchical zoning, sorry kids, I can't spell it for you, that would go away on the boulevard. They actually do spend quite a bit of time talking with the gentleman about how to improve appearance. He's tough. He's tough. There's a question of how far you can go in requiring them to make the design look the way we wish. I don't know what you said, Mark. I don't. Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Kathy?
The Niagara County Veterans Agency, Town of Wheatfield will be hosting a Veterans Outreach Day on June 15th from 9 to 12. So anybody who's interested in meeting with a representative from the Veterans Administration, they will go over compensation, death benefits, health insurance, anything that's available for local vets. We do this once a year, and it's been very helpful for the people that attend. So anyone who's interested will have information in the clerk's office, and we'll put something on the website. But it's June 15th from 9 to 12. But they usually meet with the Chris is his name, for maybe 45 minutes to an hour to go through their service history and see what benefits are available to the veteran. That's it.
Thank you. Okay, I would entertain a motion to go into executive session. I have a motion. I need a second.
Second.
Moved and seconded to go into executive session on a matter of litigation. We would want our town attorney and our town clerk. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are in executive session. There will not likely be any business after the executive session.